So welcome everybody. This is a core-centered flow class today, and we'll definitely be spending the first bit of class focusing on the deep core, and then we'll move on to a more classical yoga flow after that. And with your blanket, you will just need that one prop today, and it's really just for your knees, which feels pretty good. So it can even be a towel if you have that lying around. But just place it next to you for a little while. We won't need it quite yet. And make your way onto your back. So when you come onto your back, start by just reaching your arms straight up. It's not a jumping right in kind of a thing. We'll settle in a moment, but turn your palms to face each other and see if you can get a little bit of length from your tailbone to the top of your head. And then as you inhale, keeping your spine down, your head down, and your tailbone down, press your shoulder blades away from each other and feel your hands lifting about an inch off the ground. So your arms actually pick up an inch. And then as you exhale, press the shoulder blades back down, kind of like you're drawing that arm bone deep down into the socket. It's a very small movement. Now inhale, press up. And as you exhale, you can almost imagine your shoulder blades gathering a little bit toward one another, and then the shoulder head settling down. Just one more time. Inhale, press your arms up. And this time as you exhale, draw your shoulder heads deep and down. Draw the shoulder blades lightly toward one another. Even though your back is on the ground, which creates a little bit of constriction back there, you can still feel for that action of gliding your shoulder blades toward your sitting bones. Can you keep that gentle attentiveness underneath your shoulder blades as you slowly take your arms wide? Slowly take your arms wide. They may not touch the ground all the way. Again, the shoulder blades are hugging down. You just give yourself a breath or two like that. Soften your neck completely and let the work, this kind of hovering of your hands, happen from that bottom band of your shoulder blades. And then you'll bend your elbows and place your hands onto your belly. The elbows should just land. The neck is still soft. And into this space, start to draw your breath a little bit deeper. Focusing your breath right into that constricted place where the back of your ribs meet the mat. So as you inhale, there's a pressing into the ground through your back ribs. And as you exhale, a softening and a releasing of that press. If you can, start to change your breath into an Ujjayi pranayama practice. Listening to the sound of your breath as you sip in through your nose, as you release your breath through your nose, as you slow that breath down and drip it softly, consistently, slowly into the chest center. One of the magical kind of revelations of the yoga practice, whether you're using your body as the anchor of your meditation as we do here, or whether you have a more formalized breathing or meditation practice, is that whatever it is that hones your attention is secondary to the attention itself. So what we're really cultivating, regardless of the anchor, is that flow of attention. Notice what you notice, and perhaps find a little bit of spaciousness around that which you notice. You begin to see, sense, and feel that attention has a quality of gratitude to it. And as attention transforms into fullness, gratitude, you can pierce that ever more deeper into yourself. Again, whether it's your body, whether it's your breath, whether it's a quality of stillness in your mind. But give yourself a moment just to feel into that kind of texture, that fabric of noticing, of awareing. With your next inhalation, bring your arms back up overhead. Again, lift your shoulders away from the ground. Feel your shoulder blades broadening away from each other. And as you exhale, squeeze your shoulder heads back down. Draw the shoulder blades lightly toward each other and lightly toward your sitting bones. So a little bit of retraction, a little bit of depression at your shoulder blades. But you're elongating the neck in this action, so you can really feel a stretch there. Bring your arms wide again into that hands just hovering off the ground position. Kind of like you're holding this gigantic globe with your arms. The chest, the sternum is your lowest part. Your wings and your fingertips curve just a little bit up. Take a couple more breaths like this. Plant your sitting bones a little more deeply into the ground, and then bring your knees up into a tabletop position and notice what changes there. So you may have gotten a little bit lighter at the bottom tips of your shoulder blades. Can you actually press the bottom tips of your shoulder blades down? Keep your hands a little hovered. Now, if you need to place your elbows down, that's okay. But if you can, even the elbows are hovered an inch. Let your knees tip a little to the left, picking your right hip up off the ground. As you exhale, draw that right hip back down. Your knees will follow. Let's go to the same side a few times. So the knees will go to the left, and you'll really feel that right shoulder blade anchoring down. Be honest with yourself. Don't go so far that your shoulder blade lifts up a whole lot. Really keep that right shoulder blade down, and maybe you're only going a couple inches over. That's okay. Do that one more time. Go over to the left, and come back to center. Stabilize here. Hug everything toward the spine, including the shoulder blades. And then take your knees over to the right. And slowly come back. Again to the right. Very mindful of your left shoulder blade. So that place that wants to get light, when you tip your knees over, you're actually wrapping it in an oppositional, strengthening anchor. Down. 2 more times to the right and back. To the right and back. And then turn your palms to face away from each other and slip your hands between your knees. Even though the shoulder blades are technically widening here, can you again draw your shoulder blades down your back and really feel for that anchor at the bottom band of those shoulder blades. Squeeze your knees into your hands. Keep your right knee as it is and take your left knee over to the left. So just like we were mindful of the shoulder blade, be mindful of your right side pelvis. Take the knee back in. And again, left knee to the left. Can you keep your right hip very heavy? It doesn't get light, it doesn't lift up. Come back. Left knee to the left. Squeezing the leg that's not moving, that right knee into the right palm. One more time, left knee can go to the left and come back. And then change sides. Take your right knee to the right. Left knee doesn't move. Left half of the pelvis doesn't move. In fact, it anchors in that same kind of oppositional rooting as the right leg explores rightward. Do that one more time, right to right. Come back to center, hug your knees into your chest. With your hands on your knees, press the knees away and then pull the knees toward. This is a kind of passive rocking on your sacrum, which we often do more actively, and we'll do it later on, but for now, just using your hands to move your leg bones in order to rock on the sacrum. And then the next time that your knees are forward, keep them there. Pick up your feet in line with your knees. Squeeze your hands into your knees. Find that little pause at the shoulder blades, wrapping those bottom tips of the shoulder blades toward the back of the body. So yes, we're going into much more deep core work, but you're still bracing behind your heart here. And as you kick your right knee a little deeper into your right hand, send your left leg away from you, and then bring it back. And then change sides, send your right leg away from you, and come back. So this is the action. One leg is straightening as the other leg squeezes into the hand. In order to make this a little more challenging, you push into your hand a little bit more. And in order to make this a little less challenging, you make that contact light. So right now, your knees are more or less together. Well, at least let's say parallel. And I'm going to invite you to start to change that. So maybe separate your knees an inch or two, or as wide as your pelvis, and continue to walk this deep core strength. And after you've done this, open the knees a little bit wider. And eventually maybe even as wide as your mat. So the hands are moving out to stay in contact with the bent knee. And maybe even as far out as your mobility will allow you. So you're just kind of walking the knees away from each other in a half circle. And then let's bring it back in a little bit, maybe as wide as the mat. A little bit narrower, just to the outsides of the hips. A little bit narrower, maybe just to those hip points. You're still turned out. And then back to parallel. So we traveled the arc. Do this 2 or 3 more times. You should be feeling it by now. Don't worry, we have a bridge pose to release those hip flexors. Come back, set your feet to the ground, push down into your feet, and lift your hips. We're giving that release here to those hip flexors. And while you're there, take your arms up again. A little harder to find the action. If you can, lift the shoulders a little bit, send the fingers up and away from you. If it doesn't feel comfortable, you don't need to do that. It's really this coming down I'm going for. So send the shoulder heads back down. Feel that pressing back into the ground like you've just driven 2 little stakes of your arms down deep into those shoulder sockets. Shoulder blades move down the back. And again, we're opening the arms just to hover here, just to hover. Draw your tailbone forward and up. And can you feel those bottom tips of the shoulder blades hugging down toward the pelvis? Take another breath in. As you exhale, release your hips to the ground. Release your hands back to the front of your pelvis. Collecting yourself in the same place we were a moment ago. So we're going into those active pelvic curls. Arch your low back here. And then round and tuck. And do this a few times. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round and tuck. If you want to make this a little bit more challenging, you can bring your legs to that tabletop position you were working before. And if you want it even more challenging than that, you can release your arms back up, straight up to the sky, without moving the knees if they're lifted. It's just a little bit more balance, a little bit less holding you on the ground, so the belly has to do the work. And then come back to center. Wherever you are, hug your knees into your chest. You're going to keep your knees into your chest. Take your arms up and out. Hover your hands just for a moment off of the ground, just for a moment. And then drop your knees to the left, all the way to the left. Set your arms down. You're in a simple spinal twist. Bring your left hand onto the top of your right leg. Squeeze your right shoulder blade down. Then release your left hand straight out in line with your heart. You're back in a T, the palms are facing up. Bring your right hand, that hand back there, to your heart. Then roll onto your left side. So you're just rolling onto your side, slipping your right fingertips down, down, down your left arm, past your left fingertips. And in fact, so far past, you keep walking out until your forehead begins to roll to the ground. Giving yourself a little bit of a stretch from under that right shoulder blade. Keep walking the fingertips out. Feel your bottom arm bone pressing lightly into the ground. Can you keep your right hip stacked over your left hip so you haven't collapsed that hip forward? Your knees are stacked. Take another breath here. Right into the back of the heart. And then slowly return your right hand up your left arm, past your chest and out to the right. And this time, just a little bit more quickly, right hand travels over the heart, down the left arm, past the fingertips, rolling your forehead to the ground as you crawl it out. And then you roll yourself back. Take the right arm out again. Bring your knees to center, hugging the knees into the chest with or without your arms. Then open back up and drop your knees over to the right. Take your right hand to your top leg, give yourself that little twist. Press your left shoulder blade onto the ground. It's not so much about the neck twisting. Don't worry about your head turning to look left. Just feel for that bottom tip of the left shoulder blade moving down, those same actions. Release your right hand out in line with your heart. Bring your left hand to your heart. And then tip up onto your right side and start to walk your left hand down your right, past your fingertips, rolling your forehead to the ground. Give yourself a few breaths here. You're pressing your right arm bone into the earth. You're walking your left hand ever further and further away from you. And then you're breathing into the back of your heart. Slowly return, sliding your left hand over that horizontal band and opening into a twist. And we'll do it one more time. Hand goes over and down, through and across. Just one breath here. Open it back up. Find your T shape. Return your legs back to center. You can, if you're protecting your neck, come back to those knee squeezes, pressing and pressing and pressing, or interlace your hands behind your head and exhale, lift up your head and chest. And we'll go into a little bit of a twist side to side here. So know that you have options. If you're not picking up your head, just go into one of those previous movements we've done. Otherwise, you're wringing out your twist just a little bit more deeply. In the next 2 rounds, we're going to move to hand squeezing knee. So right here, twist to the left, bring your right hand to your left inner knee and squeeze those points. So really squeeze the knee and the hand, and then change sides. Left hand to the right knee and squeeze. So it's a little more slow than your bicycle. Right hand to the left knee, squeeze that line, and then left hand to the right knee. This actually pulls together a lot of the exercises we've already done this morning. You're hugging that midline, and it gives you a chance to send the floating elbow back. So when you twist, you reach that bottom elbow in an arc toward the back of your mat. Do this 1 or 2 more times. It's much slower than just the bicycle. Coming back to center after this last round. Woo, there it is. Hug your knees into your chest. Bring your legs up. Last little bit for the deep core, and then we'll come on to our hands and knees. You can bring your thumbs underneath the back of your pelvis for a little bit of support. Let your legs be straight up to the sky and give yourself a moment here, even here, to draw your shoulder blades down and away from your ears. So sometimes we hunch the shoulders up thinking that we're giving ourselves more support. Let the support be at the bottom band of your shoulder blades. I know that seems minor, but the more we can reinforce that in poses like this where we're stable on the ground, the more the memory lasts when we come up. Then externally rotate at your leg bone. So turn out and then turn back to parallel. Turn out, turn to parallel. Turn out, turn to parallel. You're actually opening at the femur head rather than at the legs. And do that one more time. You're going into a turnout and then you pause. And we're going to flutter kick, one heel in front of the other. This is the movement. Some of you can actually challenge the movement by lowering the legs a little bit toward the ground, but you want to feel that Uddiyana Bandha or Mula Bandha nexus at the deep belly, kind of the top of Mula Bandha, the bottom of Uddiyana Bandha, drawing your low navel back and up, and keeping the low back on the ground. Yes, your legs can be as low to the earth as you want them to be, but be mindful of that low back. You can also stay all the way upright here, but keep going. Maybe bat a little bit faster. You're just crossing one ankle in front of the other. Bat, bat, bat. And 5 full breaths. Don't forget to breathe. Don't forget the bottom band of the shoulder blades hugging down. 4, 3, 2, you're noticing sensation, it's okay. Notice what you notice. Let that awareness be a stream. 1, it's just movement. Come back to stillness, parallel your legs. Hug your knees into your chest. Shoulder blades move down, shoulder heads gently widen, knees hug in. Let's roll up and down the spine once or twice, 3 times, and let's make our way onto our forearms and our knees. And this is where your blanket might be really useful as support for your knees, because we will be here for about 2 minutes. And this is a kind of core work, but it's also stabilizing for the shoulder blades. And we've been doing this one a little bit more recently. You can interlace your hands for additional support, or you can keep your forearms parallel in those 11s. But once you come up, feel for this wrapping of the front of your pelvis. The 2 bones at the front of the pelvis narrow toward each other, like you're tying a belt, and then they lift lightly up toward your rib cage. So even when you're facing the ground, there's that narrowing and that lifting forward. So you're not collapsing your pelvis toward the ground, you're moving it forward. That alone is enough to deeply strengthen you here. If you're adding on, you'll send your right leg back and tuck the toes to the ground. Draw your tailbone towards your back heel so that your low back stays long, and then pick up the heel. Lower the right knee next to the left knee, send the left toes back, tuck onto the ground. So all you're doing is just prepping the memory and the muscle to lift from the glutes rather than the low back. So lift the leg from the leg, take it up, press back. We're going to add on to this exercise. Exhale, release the knee. It's a quick movement. Inhale, your right leg will go back. It'll either touch through the toes or stay hovered. Then your knee will tap. You'll send the leg back again, and then you'll return. Left leg back, knee taps. Back, return. Right back, knee taps. Back, return. Left, tap, reach, return. Right, tap. Now continue the movement and find your breath. There's a little bit of wobbling side to side, especially when you change. So can you stay really steady at your pelvis, which is really part of what you're stabilizing here, as your movement picks up, as you start to build that blood flow into the hips, into the legs, the glutes, the hamstrings. Full breath here. Notice if your head has dipped to the ground or your chest has collapsed, send your sternum forward and find the bottom tips of the shoulder blades wrapping down your back. So you're still actively retracting and depressing your shoulder blades as the top of the head lengthens forward. So you're not using that retraction to drop the sternum to the ground. You're sending the top of your head forward. Let's do this one more time to each side, and then we're going to hover the right leg and hold. Reach your right leg back, hold, then bend your knee. It's about a 90-degree angle at the knee. From the glutes, rather than from the low back, pulse up. So you're not doing this at the low back. Your low back stays very still, and it's almost like you're thinking of the place where your glutes on your right side, that bottom crease of your glutes meets your leg. It's almost like you're squeezing a little safety pin right in that place, that glute and leg meeting zone, kind of narrowing that crease. Hopefully that helps, that little imagery, right? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Set your knee down, left side. Send it back, then bend your knee. You're at about 90 degrees here and pulse up. So again, it's where the bottom crease of your glute meets your leg that I'm really wanting you to think about squeezing. Kind of like you've got a little paper clip there, and you're squeezing that clip as you pulse up. Your tailbone stays long. Your low back is doing as little work as possible so that it's the hamstrings and the glutes really pulsing you up. Full breath here. This is core strength because our glutes help to hold our body up. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, shoulder blades, 4, head, look forward, lower the knee down. Separate your knees, touch your toes together. Release your arms. Hover your elbows so that your elbows get a little bit of space. Active child's pose. And then you'll reach your arms down and back towards your heels, maybe even catch hold of your heels. And pull gently on those heels. Shoulder blades soften, forehead softens. Reach your arms forward. Once again, look forward. And even here, well, let's do this the opposite way. So let's actually squeeze our shoulders up into our ears. So really scrunch up. Walk your hands so far forward that you have no neck at all. No neck at all. Okay, now we're going to recreate our neck without moving our hands. You're not going to do that by drawing your shoulder blades down your back. You're going to do that by wrapping your outer upper arms toward the ground. So in this deep external rotation action at your shoulder heads, you can feel a hollowing out of your armpit. Your arm bones move away from your ears side to side laterally, so your triceps hug down. Then lift the top of your head up and away from your heart. Did your shoulder blades move down your back? They probably did, right? Without moving your hands. But they probably did because you elongated your neck, you broadened the back of your heart, you externally rotated, you wrapped your triceps down, your thumbs pressed. Now, when you look at your hands, you're looking at your hands not with your neck, not with your chin, but with your heart. Lift your heart up a little bit. It's a 1-inch movement. We're going to do that 2 more times. So as you exhale, lower your eyes, lower your heart, lower your head a little. When you inhale, from the heart, not from the chin, not from the neck, from the heart, look forward. In other words, can you feel the bottom tips of your shoulder blades scooping your heart forward? Your arms are straight. Your triceps are rolling down. Your neck isn't working. Exhale, bring your head back in line with your arms, and do that 1 more time. Inhale. I promise we're about to go into our flow. This is the last movement in the deep core sequence, that first half of class. And then as you inhale, using the heart, using the shoulder blades, look forward, lift up, tuck your toes, find downward facing dog. Everything is set. Your heart is set. Your legs need a little bit of walking out. Maybe you need to open a hip and just release that hip flexor. You can take a hip up and squeeze it open. because that was a lot of time and flexion in your hips, so give yourself that release. Move your blanket off to the side, spread your fingers wide, and then find that down dog. As you inhale, lift your right leg up. Exhale, step your right foot to the inside of your hand, take a twist, let it feel good, reach open. Release your hand, release your back knee, point the toes. Keep your hands down and squeeze your hands back as you lift up your heart. So it's like an Anjaneyasana A, but you're pushing your hands down and back. Bottom tips of the shoulder blades lifting the heart. Come back into the twist you were just in. Tuck the back toes under and see if that changes things a little. Release your hand. Bring your right leg back and up into a one-legged dog and set your foot onto the ground. Reach your left leg up, inhale. You're feeling the full reach of your limbs. Step your foot to the inside of the hand. Inhale, lift your left arm up, open into a twist. Exhale your hand to the ground, your back knee down, point your toes. As you inhale, hands stay low, fingertips press straight back. Back toe points straight back. Bottom tips of the shoulder blades hug up. Use that band. Come back into the twist. Right hand down. Lift your back knee and open. Release your hand. One-legged dog, left leg up. Set your foot to the ground. One more time. Your right leg lifts. Inhale. Step forward. Exhale. Inhale, twist, open. Exhale, hand down, knee down. Point the toes. Hands low. Inhale, squeeze back. Exhale, hands to the ground, back toes tuck, right arm lifts, inhale. Exhale, one-legged dog, lift up and back. Set your foot down, left leg up, inhale. Step forward. Twist. Release hand and knee, point your toes. Inhale, push back. Exhale, back into the ground, left arm up, inhale. Exhale, hand down, one-legged dog, reach up. Set your foot to the earth. Shift into plank pose. Shoulder blades move down the back. Inner shoulder heads are broadening away from each other, which allows the top of your head to move forward. Now remember when we were on our back, we did all those little shoulder blade adjustments? We're doing that here. Use your knees on the ground if you need to. It's a great place to be. But you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades toward each other, do a little shoulder blade push-up, and then press your shoulder blades apart and dome your heart up. Shoulder blades together, shoulder blades apart. Retract, protract, retract, protract. Find the middle space, press back to down dog. Keeping your spine between your shoulder blades in that energetic engagement between the shoulder blades and the back ribs. Shift forward to plank pose. So remember, it's your heart sending your gaze forward. It's not your neck, it's not your eyes. It's that scoop of the sternum, look forward. As you exhale, bend all the way down, point your toes. As you inhale, lift up, cobra pose. Same scoop of the heart. Exhale, lower. Fingertips wide, cup the ground, elbows out. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Hands in front of the shoulders, palms flat. Inhale to straight. Exhale, lower. Hands by ribs, Bhujangasana. Inhale. Exhale. Fingertips wide, elbows out. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Hands in front of the shoulders, palms flat. Inhale, triceps wrap down. Exhale. One more round, hands back, cobra. Wide cobra, hands tented. Inhale, elbows point out. Exhale, hands just in front of your shoulders. Inhale, wrap your triceps down, lift up your heart. Exhale, lower, bring your hands by your ribs. Shoulder blades move down the back. Back ribs rise lightly to meet that connection. Tuck your toes under. You're hovering your chest, you're hovering your knees. Tailbone reaches to the heels. You're feeling that squeeze at the bottom crease of the glutes into the leg bones by directing the tailbone deeper, by squeezing the thigh bones to the sky. Now engage your belly a lot. Yes, you can use your knees. Hover chaturanga. Push straight up. Find your way to down dog. 3 push-ups. Inhale, shift forward to plank. Shoulder blades move down. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lift. 2 more times. Exhale, bend. Glutes are helping, belly is helping. Press up. Downward facing dog. Lift your right leg, inhale. Step forward, exhale. Right arm up, inhale. Hand down, knee down, point the toes. Hand squeeze back. This time interlace. Lift up your heart, tuck your back toes under. There's that same engagement at the backside glutes. Pick up the thigh, squeeze that imaginary paper clip, and then dive your heart forward and toward the earth. It's a variation on humble warrior. Lift up your heart, drop your left hand, and open back into that twist from here. Release your hand. Optional to move back to down dog, optional to go through a vinyasa on this side. From your down dog, lift your left leg up, inhale. Step forward, left arm up, open across your chest. Hand down, knee down, toes pointed. Inhale, hands push back. Squeeze through your palms, interlace. Drive the knuckles down, drive the tailbone down, imaginary paper clip right there in that crease, lift up your heart. Tuck the back toes under, pick up the thigh. Start to dip a little forward, and then using your belly, dip all the way. Front ribs move to the back ribs. Front side of the belly, drawing your body into flexion. From here, come up halfway, and then open into your twist, reach up. Release your hands, step back. Your choice, it can even be cat-cow, it can be chaturanga and upward facing dog, or just straight back. Down dog. Lift your right leg up, inhale. Step your foot forward, twist. Bring your right arm up. Hand down, knee down, toes point. Inhale, hands press back. Exhale, interlace. Tuck the toes. Inhale, squeeze the thigh up, stay lifted. Stay lifted and go into a little back bend. We're still coming into humble warrior, but we're stretching back first. As you exhale slowly from your deep belly, pick up and off of your hips to come forward. So you're not just collapsing down, go forward and then bow it in again. Then bow it in again. We're adding on here, right? Left hand down, inhale, right arm up and open. As you bring your right hand to the ground, you might be on your left fingertips. It's okay, stay on your left fingertips, but bring your right hand flat. Then squeeze your right knee to your left elbow and take your back heel to the ground. So the back heel is down, like a warrior one. There's a slight turn in of the toes. And the right knee is squeezing across and towards your left elbow. Squeeze a little more, squeeze a little more, and a little more. Oh, maybe you touch. Release your leg back and up, foot to the ground. Left leg lifts, inhale, step forward, twist, left arm up. Hand comes down, knee comes down. Fingertips press back. Deepen the tailbone into the body, interlace, lift up your heart. Tuck your back toes under, and as you inhale, pick it up into a little bit of a back bend. So tailbone is moving forward. Your pelvis is drawing up and away from your legs. Up on it in the legs, they're descending. Udana at the heart, it's lifting. Come forward, not collapsing on those hip joints, but stretching up and away from them, and then slowly, 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 slowly dipping down. Full breath. So it's a little release halfway to take your hands down. Hey, you might be on those right fingertips as you lift back up. Then your left hand comes all the way to the ground. Left hand down, right fingertips down. Squeeze your left knee to your right elbow and drop the back heel. Squeeze and squeeze. A little bit more. A little bit more. Send your heart forward. Not from the chest, not from the neck, not from the chin, but from the heart. So yes, from the chest. One more breath. Maybe you touch, reach it back and up. Release your foot, stay here or vinyasa, your choice, how you like to move it through your heart. Back to down dog. Look at your hands and walk or jump your feet forward. Folding over your legs, drop your head. Hands to hips, lift up halfway. So again, here's that lift of the chest. Shoulder blades move down the back. Shoulder blades trying to touch your back pockets. Front of the pelvis narrowing and lifting. Narrow and lift so much that you come all the way up. And then sit your hips back into Utkatasana chair pose. Couple things happen in our Utkatasana chair pose, right? We either drop our pelvis forward or we tuck it under. Do neither. Drop the thigh bones right at that hip crease. Narrow the front of the pelvis and draw it up as the thigh bones draw back. So it's like you've got a little crack of light in your hip crease and you're trying to open that crack a little bit more by drawing the legs back and the pelvis forward. Just maybe bring your arms forward and then out into that hugging T. Feel that holding of your shoulder blades to support your arms. Maybe bring your arms overhead. Don't do it if it doesn't feel good. And then exhale, fold forward. Come up halfway, inhale. Chaturanga, exhale. We're going into a Surya Namaskara. B, because we can't resist, at least one classical vinyasa. Step your right foot forward, back heel to the ground, Virabhadrasana A. You can stop halfway with the arms or all the way up. That doesn't matter so much, it's your legs working, your belly. And then step back, wash it through, your favorite vinyasa. Left foot steps forward, back heel to the ground, inhale, whatever you need to do in your arms. Exhale, wash it through. Up dog, cobra, shoulders wide, down dog. Full breath. Wrap your triceps toward the earth like you're hollowing out your armpits. Draw your shoulder blades down your back. You're walking or jumping your feet to your hands at the bottom of your next exhale. Squeeze it out and jump. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold Utkatasana chair pose with your arms wide. Shoulder blades move down the back. Now, shift your weight into your left foot. Take your right leg over your left leg. Either kickstand the toe or wrap it behind the calf. Right elbow under, Garudasana. Press your elbows forward and up. Tip your heart back, shoulder blades down. This is Utkatasana at the hip crease, right? So the thighs are still lowering. The front of the pelvis is still narrowing and lifting. It's all those actions we've worked. Open the arms wide, release your right leg, sit back. Shift your weight into your right foot, take your left leg over, either use the toe as a kickstand or wrap it, and then sweep your left arm under, Garudasana. Elbows move forward and up as the shoulder blades move down. Fill your back ribs into your shoulder blades. So there's a prayer happening there between the shoulder blades and the rib cage. They're moving into one another, which means the ribs are breathing back. Inhale, back into chair pose. Exhale, fold forward. Last time through your Surya B, heart up, inhale. Do what you need to do. Downward facing dog will meet. And from there, warrior one, step your right foot, back heel to the ground, rise up. Wash it through, step back. Make sure that you squeeze those outer ankles lightly toward the midline, especially in your back bends. So we'll work that in your upward facing dog this time. When you come up, hug those outer ankles toward the midline, keep the pinky toe down, but squeeze, and then come back. Couple of breaths here. Draw into it, you're almost there. You're almost there. One more eagle pose, step or jump. Lift halfway, inhale, exhale, fold. Inhale, Utkatasana, maybe with those arms wide, like you're holding a globe here. Exhale, shift your weight into your left foot, right leg over, right arm under. This time, press your elbows up, 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 and then using those front ribs, using that deep core strength, tap your elbows to your knees. Inhale to rise back up. Open the arms, gentle circle, release. Drop the hips back, shift your weight into your right foot, left leg over, hook the toes. Left elbow under. So, you know, and I know, that we build slowly until we're right here in the heat of this last 80% of the class. Can you stay with it right here where we've built and built? And exhale, maybe bow it in. Built and built. Let that hone your attention. Come back up, release your arms. Chair pose. Little pulses, 10, 9, back more than down, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, straighten, lift, fold forward. Come up halfway, pause. Step back, lower your forearms to the ground and come into dolphin pose. You can interlace your hands if that's more stable. I'm going to offer us a bunch of choices here. It's about 10 breaths. Either stay as you are in dolphin, maybe lower to child's pose. Maybe take forearm plank, which means your hands can be interlaced or not. So those are the ground choices. Child's pose, forearm plank, or dolphin. Otherwise, try to bring one leg up, lifting not from the low back, but from the glutes and the hamstrings. If you do that, you change sides, lift the other leg up. Maybe, just maybe, you're working your way up, stepping into a Pincha Mayurasana, forearm balance, coming up. And those of you that are feeling really strong in your Pincha Mayurasana today, you'll try to lower your legs together, just to hover your legs a little bit. So it's a very slow descent down. I don't think I have that one in me today. I think I might just hold Pincha Mayurasana for another 5 breaths. But if you're practicing that lowering down, go for it. Lower slowly. 3, 2. 1 more. We'll meet in child's pose. Neck soft. Actually, let's stack our fists under our forehead. You can also, if you want to bring your arms alongside your body, take your blanket that you were using a little bit earlier, place that under your forehead, but I actually want your head in line with your sacrum. It's a much better way to practice your child's pose if you're protecting your neck, your shoulders, and even your low back. Slowly roll yourself up. Baby bird pumps. We're going to just kind of pump it out of the shoulders. It doesn't have to be a big movement. In fact, it can be very slow, stretchy, or it can be this last little burst of full breath. So just about a minute here. You're feeling this release across the entire circular band at the heart. The front, the sides, the back. The elbows can be a little lower. They can be a little higher. Full breath. Punching the breath out. Those of you that have a slow Kapalabhati practice, you can punch your breath out through your nose even here. Ten, 6, 2, 1, and release. Close your eyes. Shoulders drop. Awareness melts into gratitude. So the practice of yoga, this practice of notice what you notice, turns into and love what you notice. Even if there's agitation in there or discomfort, perhaps especially if. These are gifts that help to redirect our attention back into our heart. So rather than holding a really heavy bowling ball far out on your fingertips, right? Think of the strain that causes. That's what happens when we're pushing our thoughts, emotions, sensations, and perceptions far out, creating a wall. It's like you're holding that bowling ball really far away. There's a lot of strain. But if you were to bring that ball of perception, thought, emotion, sensation, perception, right up next to the heart, now all of a sudden you have this globe of stability. Yes, it's closer. Yes, you have to feel it. But it turns out it's a lot less painful to feel what you feel and notice what you notice than it is to push that away. Change your legs forward. We're going into one more forward fold here just to set ourselves up for Shavasana. I do invite you to have your blanket still next to you, and if it's rolled up, roll it up. We'll place it under our knees. One last forward fold, one last back bend here. So classical Paschimottanasana to Purvottanasana, stretching to the east and stretching to the west. That full sun circle here. Lift it up, bring your hands back, Purvottanasana, lift up your hips. Drive your thumbs down, wrap your triceps back. One more time, fold forward. One more time, take it back, lift the heart. Lower your hips, take your blanket underneath your knees. Separate your legs. And slowly make your way onto your back. Give yourself a moment just to wiggle out your sacrum. Wiggle out the back of your heart. Then you'll turn your palms to face up. Let your shoulders drop. Make your way into a completely held Shavasana with those shoulder blades like upward turned palms, creating a prayer with the heart, holding your back. Let your body drop. Thank you so much for taking my class. This is Cynthia Abulafia of CynthiaAbulafiaYoga.com. Please feel free to check out my website for writings and more offerings. As we always end our class, Ata Yoga Anushasanam, Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Here begins your practice of yoga. Stay connected. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.